their coming out party? And in asking that question, I went back through the last handful of draft classes for the Denver Broncos, going back to basically PS2's draft, because that feels like right in that 2021 window is probably, if you can't really go much further back than that if you're talking about a coming out party, when you've been in the league for 5 years. But man, going back through that, what a chest pump and a resume flex for George Payton. You want to go back through some of George Payton's prominent picks?
I know you do, Richie.
2021. I do. Listen, 2021.
He's in on a lot of picks.
Patrick Surtain, reigning Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time first-team All-Pro, will show up on this top 100 list, probably in the top 10. At least top 20.
Yeah, he needs to be in the top 10. You're the Defensive Player of the Year. If you're not in the top 10, maybe even top 5, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Is he the top defensive player?
Yes.
Over Myles Garrett?
No, people are going to probably put him over Myles Garrett.
Because this is voted on by the players.
Yeah. But if you're just going off of like having a great year, PS2 had a better year than Myles Garrett. So why would he not be that first defensive player in the top 5?
Sometimes these player lists and the way they evaluate and look at things is so different. Phil, there's part of me that's not going to be stunned if like Sauce Gardner and PS2
I would be mad.
I would be too, but I'm just saying.
If Sauce Gardner is picked before PS2,
crazy.
We got an issue.
Yeah.
We got an issue. Like, no, Defensive Player of the Year always goes before any other defensive player.
Later in that 2021 draft, he takes a kid out of Wisconsin, Whitewater, in the 3rd round who went viral for smacking around some aspen trees in the woods doing pass sets. That's Quinn Miners.
What did the Aspens do to you?
First-team All-Pro. Another guy who I think it's fair to speculate will show up on this top 100 list. He's one of the best guards in the NFL and certainly one of the highest paid in the NFL. So that's just the 2021 draft. 2022 comes Nik Bonitto. They don't have a first-round pick, but they take Nik Bonitto. He's a second-team All-Pro. Just came in at 38 on the top 100 list. 3rd in the NFL in sacks. Clearly had his coming-out party. Marvin Mims in 2023, first-team All-Pro, second-team All-Pro in consecutive seasons, clearly carving out a role as a returner and a special teams ace while contributing on a wide receiver 2 production level in the offense.
Yeah.
2024, you get Bo Nix, who debuts for his rookie season on the top 100 list at 64. He was a Rookie of the Year candidate and one of the better statistical quarterbacks in the NFL from weeks 11 to 18. And he's a potential franchise guy for the Broncos. And that doesn't even factor in the mid to late round starters that George Payton has found, like Jonathan Cooper, 7th-round pick, starting edge rusher. Riley Moss, 3rd-round pick, starting corner opposite the Defensive Player of the Year. And somebody who we saw how different the impact was when he got hurt, right? And then Devon Vele, the 7th-round pick, One-A-Day Vele, who may be the wide receiver 2 on this team as early as 2025.
But also, Richie, that's why George is still here. That's why Sean and George work well together, because George knows how to evaluate talent in the draft. We're not talking about free agency with players that have been playing in the league for a very long time. He doesn't do a good job of that. All right, you have Gregory, you had Russell Wilson. Like, you had a couple that he tried to hit on and failed. And it's okay. It's going to happen to you. But when it comes to evaluating talent in the draft with these young players, George has been spot on. And that's something that I've always known about George from the start, of just hearing around when he was with the Vikings, of like, he's a really good guy. He cares a lot about his players, but also he does a great job of sitting there watching film, dissecting it, and picking the right players for the team.
And there were some, Phil, even on this station, and I'm not going to name names. We don't got to put business in the street. But there were a number of people on this station who at multiple times throughout George Payton's tenure, whether it was the Russell Wilson contract extension and trade, or choosing Pat Surtain over Justin Fields, or this or that, who were calling for this man's job.
I mean, but can you understand why? Like when you go and you pick up Russell Wilson, all right, and you seem cocky about it.
Yeah, but Phil, at the time, that trade looked like a banger.
And then what happened?
Well, it didn't work out.
Exactly.
Clearly.
And
if not for Greg Penner, It could have been a lot worse.
Like, Greg Penner was really patient and seeing this through. And when you do, and you are a little bit more patient, you can see a clear picture in the vision. And George has done a great job with the young talent And it's something like the Philadelphia Eagles think and do. Draft, develop, pay. That's what the Denver Broncos are doing right now. They're drafting these players. They're developing them. They're giving them the time that they need, and then they're paying them. That's what you want out of an organization. That's something that when I was playing was not there. And for example, it's like, hey, you have someone like Shaq Barrett who was undrafted. All right, he's like a diamond in the rough. You kind of develop him and let him play and then let him go somewhere else like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has 19 sacks and gets paid over there when he could have probably helped us out at that time. So when you have a good set of players, good set of men, you want to keep them, so you have to pay them.
Taking Bo Nix out of the conversation, because I think Bo Nix in 2024, he already popped a little bit. He went 10-7 as a starter, made the playoffs in the wild card round, was voted in the top 65 in the NFL's top 100. Clearly, from the words of guys like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and opposing coaches and defensive coordinators, all showering praise on Bo Nix for what he did in 2024. So taking him out of it, Phil, whose coming out party is next for the Broncos?
Who is next? Next up!
Who's going to have the 2024 Nik Bonitto season in 2025?
To me, I'm going to look at the defensive side of the ball because I think the defense is going to be dominant this year. But there's going to be a particular player that's going to have to play well. Now, he's been in the league now. He's going on his third year. I want to say third year. He was drafted 2023, 83rd, third round. And that's Riley Moss. Riley Moss, to me, is an emerging player that next year we're going to be talking about maybe he hits the NFL top 100. Why? Because he's going to be targeted a lot this year. He's going to be a lot more comfortable this year as long as he can stay healthy. And he's having a phenomenal camp. One thing about Riley is he has speed. He has length. He's smart. He's physical and aggressive. He's able to come up and make tackles. He understands angles. And so even if he does get beat, like a couple times Cortland Sutton was able to beat Riley Moss off the line of scrimmage, because of how smart Riley is in his speed, he's able to catch back up. Riley Moss is going to be able to take that next step and put himself in a category like, hey, not necessarily elite cornerback level just yet, but a really, really good cornerback that you don't want to throw to. And if you have a defensive player of the year and Pat Surtain on one side, you have no choice but to throw to that other side. And if he's a really, really good cornerback, which I think he is and he's going to continue to be, it's going to be hard to throw against the Denver Broncos defense. Riley Moss has a chance to put himself in a category where he's like really, really good and get paid a lot of money because cornerbacks get paid. It's one of the hardest positions out there other than cornerback, because now you're backpedaling. You're going against receivers that are 6'3", 6'4", 220 pounds that run 4.3s, and they know the route. And you have to be able to stop that. Riley Moss is doing a hell of a job right now. He needs to continue to do it, and if he can, he's an emerging star. Like, it's simple as that.
I like that. I like that a lot. But when we talked about Patrick Surtain, right, and his Defensive Player of the Year case, we talked about the difficulty that comes with the cornerback position. Cornerback. I like your enunciation there. Quarterback.
You know, like it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, listen.
I like to talk fast.
You've been doing them reads.
Oh, yeah.
You've been doing them reads.
Sometimes I got to slow down.
When we were looking at Patrick Surtain and his case to make Defensive Player of the Year, which he ended up winning, we talked about the difficulty that the cornerback position can have when it comes to being widely appreciated and evaluated because it's not the most statistical position. It's not Nik Bonitto where you're counting sacks and pressures and pass breakups and all of those things. So what does that season look like for Riley Moss, in your opinion, if he's going to have this coming out party in 2025? What does it look like? Because the opportunity, as you pointed out, is going to be there when you got the DPOY on one side.
I would say for a cornerback, when it's quiet, you're having a great day. But it's not going to be quiet for Riley Moss because who are you going to throw to? Who are you going to test? You're going to test Riley Moss' side more than you would PS2. So Riley Moss is going to get a lot of action. So there's going to be times where there are catches caught on him, that there are times where maybe he gets a touchdown scored on him. It's okay. It's how you bounce back. So what I want to see is more interceptions. Can we get 2, 3, maybe 4 interceptions? Pass breakups, coming up and tackling. That's what I want to see. Can we get the tackling, but the pass breakups are going to be big. It's hard to get interceptions, but when it's there, take advantage of that opportunity. Change the game because of that. Because now if you can give the offense more opportunities, you're probably going to win that game. So Riley Moss is going to have those opportunities given to him. Now take advantage of them. Take it away. Get a couple interceptions. Let's go 3 or 4 this year. That should be the mindset.
Well, if it does pan out the way that you have just laid out, man, this Broncos secondary is going to be something fierce. If you've got the reigning defensive player of the year, you got a Riley Moss who rises to a top 100 level, top tier, maybe not elite, but top tier level corner opposite that, with Jahdae Barron waiting in the wings, with Jaquan McMillan playing inside. That's a nasty group of corners.
And I will say this. There's going to be some pressure put on Riley Moss because if Riley does not do well at the beginning of this season, and there's a young man by the name of Chris Abrams-Drain that steps up, which he looks like he is stepping up. He's having a hell of a camp as well. They're going to put Chris Abrams-Drain in there to kind of replace Riley until Riley's ready to go back at it. So Riley has a little bit of added pressure to go out there and produce because you have young talent behind you that's ready to play. We're talking about it now, and a lot of people out there are talking about it. You have Chris Harris, all right, the great Chris Harris, who's saying, like, what are you going to do? You have to get Chris Abrams-Drain on this field. So what does that look like? So it's great that the Denver Broncos have depth because if one of these corners or the nickels like Jaquan McMillan doesn't pan out or they're not doing well, you're going to replace them with Jahdae Barron and maybe a Chris Abrams-Drain. So it forces players to play at a different level when people are behind you, breathing down your neck, ready for their